here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy.
Good afternoon, it's Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. Well, we found out it was an MCL tear for Cominsky. He has to have season-ending repair surgery. And Nitain Mutai, while they haven't alluded to what the shoulder injury is yet, people who were there says it looks like a broken collarbone. But Dan Campbell confirmed he needs surgery to repair that and will probably miss most of the season as well. For those that are Mutai fans, I feel sorry for you. What does it mean? Mahogany looked good in OTAs, but hasn't been able to really do anything at camp because he's sick. We still don't know what the unknown illness is. Maybe it was from hanging out with the Packer fan during the offseason and he's got a moldy cheese virus or something. I don't know. That being said, here we are talking football, the end of July, and it is awesome. How's everybody else doing today? DJ Moore got a contract. It's very team friendly for a number one wide receiver. He got what he deserved. Taylor Decker got his extension, 30 mil a year over 3 years. I'm quite sure when the details come out, it's actually quite friendly to the Lions salary cap. I'm going to look right now for us. Good afternoon, Ricky Sakat. I was beginning to think no one wanted to talk to me. I'm going to look and see if Taylor Decker's contract is done. No, it's very cap friendly from what I understand, but they haven't updated that yet. So let's go to Spot Track, see if they have. Good afternoon, Smoking Dad in the building. So it's a little over 50% guaranteed. Decker will earn a base salary of $12,900 and a roster bonus of $500, carrying a cap hit of 19-1 year one. They haven't given out the details yet, but his void year was moved to 2028. Ricky Scott says he's been super busy with work, taking extra shifts, and it's worn me out. But guess Holmes was smart to get Goff's deal done early. 6 QBs? No, only 4. One was already there. There's only been 4 QBs that make more than him that's been signed. It's Tua, Love, and T-Law. Hello from Joel and Levi. We are playing cards while listening. That's awesome. But it is 100% what it is. People get hurt all the time in the NFL, whether it's preseason. We've heard all sorts of season-ending injuries. There was the defensive end from the Colts. Then the day before that, the defensive end from the Cowboys. Mekhi Blackman, the cornerback from Minnesota. It's happening all over the league. It's not just one place or the other. It isn't a strength and conditioning thing. It's a knee. In the MCL, ACL, or PCL, all it takes is turning. Oh, I didn't say it wasn't a bad signing. Don't get me wrong, Ricky Sakat. But there's only Goff is top 5 in pay in the league right now when it comes to average per year. But the highest paid quarterback this year, and he didn't even get an extension, is Dak Prescott. He has a cap hit of $58 million this season. So it sounds like he's got one of those agents like Kirk Cousins. He doesn't need a deal to be high paid. He already is. Oh, I forgot. That's because he plays for Jerry Jones. Buddy Conquito. I like the golf contract. Don't get me wrong, but God, every day I read and Houston's getting owned by a backup, and I understand he's playing with the threes and he subs in for Betts with the twos. So the fact that Betts is at the twos and Houston is playing with the threes 90% of the time, I find that troubling. Um, he's not using his bend as well. He doesn't have that elite get off anymore. And he's trying to bull rush guys like Dan Skipper, who's 6'7" or 6'8" and 350 pounds. Bull rushing when you're 6'1" and 240 makes no sense to me. Right now, we were going to have to cut 2 out of the defensive end room anyways. It's looking like Houston's on the bubble. When do you think the Lions do Hutchinson's new contract? Next offseason? Probably. I think next year they'll get it done. They already accept. They're going to accept the 5th-year option. They're going to do the contract and move it after that 5th-year option, and maybe give them a little bit of a pay raise within that. Dwayne Keene back in the chat. Good to see you, brother. But so far, our most improved player every day, with or without pads, has been Jamison Williams. Ifeatu Melifamu had a better day in coverage yesterday because Brian Branch is still not in the team drills yet. Let's go Detroit Lions, one pride, NFC North Division championship title. But I appreciate you being here, Dorn. I think next season and yeah, I believe so too. I think but if you look, we've had guys that get like just over the top paid money, and then right after that, someone else gets signed for more, and it doesn't look as bad. I think it'll be the same thing with Hutchinson. He'll get a deal that might be like 100 to 500,000 dollars more than the highest paid contract at DN, and then somebody's going to overpay somebody else because that's what's been going on. And I'm not calling out the Packers. I'm calling out Love. Tua hasn't won a playoff game, can't win a game in the cold at all. I'm hearing it too, but it's all rumors still. I have heard nothing out of Allen Park that they've done it. Just heard rumors. If they do it, they do it. But if they get Judon 100%, Houston's gone. We have to look at that and be realistic about it. Because Judon plays defensive end and Sam position. And very well, I might add. They said yesterday that Parker Hess, our 4th tight end on the roster, actually our 5th if you include Mitchell. I agree Judon gets us closer to a Super Bowl this year, but at the same time, I haven't heard Brad Holmes saying he's making a move. I think Houston's on the bubble right now. He is not a lock to make the 53. Yeah, Carlton, Arnold, Rakestraw, and Robertson sounds like a great secondary, 100%. Uh, in the twos, Mosley has been playing outside more than the slot, and in the ones, it's been more of Rakestraw and Amik at the at the slot there battling it out. But Mosley is coming up and taking outside snaps away when people come off the field with the ones and the twos, as well as playing the slot with the ones. So it's quite the battle going on right now. We don't know who the number one or the number three is at this point. I can tell you who it isn't. It's not Brian Branch. We have enough depth in this cornerback room. He doesn't have to play there. Last year, did I see Carlton getting cooked by St. Brown? I see lots of corners get cooked by St. Brown. I I don't hold anything against anybody who gets cooked by St. Brown. We've seen fast corners, slow corners, every type of corner, linebackers, safeties, and everything else get cooked by St. Brown. St. Brown is a top 3 receiver regardless of position that you think he is in the league, and one of the best top 3 route runners. Oh, I'm not forgetting about Brian Branch. Brian Branch is starting at strong safety. He's not a corner, Dad. He was a safety coming out of college. He played corner out of necessity because we had too much depth at safety. Alls I know is he's been playing everywhere and looking great, Buddy Conquito. So I'm not as worried about Mosley. As a matter of fact, I'm more worried that he's going to take a spot away from either Carlton Davis or Amik Robertson when all's said and done because he's been playing better than them. That's what I'm hearing overall. Yeah, and he did a double move that Carlton Davis bought on, which puts him 3 steps behind St. Brown. I'm not even gonna you look for the negative in everything. Oh my god. I swear it's like you're one of the worst Lions fans I've had to talk to. Yeah, I know. They can't wait to do joint practices because then they get to see somebody than their own team. That's 100% a fact, John. I can't wait for the Giants to come into camp to do the joint practices. You know what else you can't wait to hear? How many brawls happen because we've heard last year over half the teams that had joint practices had brawls. You guys do that, you'll be off the team, and then they realize the whole team's doing it. They can't fire everybody at once. Uh, I didn't hate on the Sutton take. I said that we're gonna after the Mosley injury. I hated the Sutton signing because he's not a one. Yeah, but JMO was dropping half the passes where he was cooked, so nobody cared. And JMO didn't even complete the offseason. I don't understand where you're going with this as undone. What I'm talking about is Carlton Davis has good stats in the NFL in game situation. You're talking about camp. Yeah, I know, but we know it's going to happen. Tempers flare when you're playing against another team. It just does. Somebody says something wrong to the wrong person, and a snowflake gets upset and starts swinging. It's how it happens every time, John Dorn. I love it when they fight. Hell yeah, it shows fire. It reminds me of the old school days. There used to be fights at NFL games, and people don't realize this. They weren't. watching football back then. And I just said Mosley is fighting to take it away from Davis. Oh my God, you're repeating a take I just said 5 minutes ago. I don't understand this. I said something 5 minutes ago, and you're saying it, and you're making it sound like it's your take. I just said Mosley is performing well at every position he's playing at, whether it's with the ones or twos. Rakeshaw has looked good, but he hasn't looked outstanding. He has had some lapses in coverage. Terry Arnold has looked good to great, but has had lapses in coverages. So I don't want to be that guy that bursts your bubble about everything, but I don't think we're starting two rookie outside corners for one thing. It's going to be a vet and Arnold, and Rakestraw will either be at the nickel or he'll be at the dime when all is said and done. Oh, no, he's back and going full speed right now. He's played at the nickel at the ones, he's played the outside with the twos, and he's actually been coming in at the outside when somebody has to come off the field. They're not taking it slow. He's 100%. And Moonscar Blade, that's why we call it training camp. I don't think they need to move Rakestraw. Why would you move Rakestraw to safety? He's an underframed corner. That's why he's being used more at the nickel with the ones. I mean, I don't want somebody that slight of frame playing straight safety. Not right now. We got Branch, Iffy, Brendan Joseph, Kirby Joseph, CJ Moore. Everybody else is pretty much irrelevant. I think those five make the roster. And we're going to have 5 or 6 corners. We're going to carry 5 at maximum in the linebacker room because nobody seems to be stepping up. Defensive end room, we're probably going to carry 5 or 6. Defensive tackle will carry 4. And one of the guys that is outside that can play. Don't be surprised if Pascal moves down to the 3s. He has been underperforming, been struggling in one-on-ones. And unless somebody's right next to him making him look better, he does not get pressure. Yeah, I don't care about other teams' draft board. Arnold played safety at Alabama next to Brian Branch the year we drafted Branch. So don't tell me that there's guys that can play other positions. Beautiful summer day in Michigan. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Joseph Austin. Good to see you, brother. I think it's going to be 3 or 4, and I don't think James Mitchell is one of them. He's been having a horrible camp. Parker Hess has been outplaying him. I think if we keep 4, it'll be Laporta, Wright, Zylstra, and Hess. I think we only keep 5 at wide receiver. I think it's going to be a dogfight to get that 5th wide receiver spot, and we might even carry 4 running backs. Remember, you get to carry 3 quarterbacks on the active roster, and one of them don't count towards it. How much space do the line until Decker's contract updates? We don't know. But at the same time, Judon wants to be paid like a top defensive end. No, I don't. I do not agree with that take, Jeremy Ballrick Jr., and I shall give disclaimer again. The views and opinions of Jeremy Ballrick Jr. do not reflect that of the kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions or smoking Jeremy B. I cannot stand grabbing an obscure name at the back end of the roster that has no shot of making it being added as a starter or as our best player. It's not comical anymore. It's old. It's washed. Time for me to grab a soda, and we are going to hear from Huddle Sports Network.
Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Ah, yes. Back to the show. And it is a shame about Cominsky, but he was basically almost becoming a sure cut. He was losing in the one-on-one in the pit drills, at camp in pads, whether it was OTAs without pads or in pads. Um, he hadn't been showing his best work. Fontaine's a UDFA. It is what it is. We find guys. Brad Holmes always find guys, whether UDFA or whatever. We didn't trade for him. We didn't draft him. He's been in the league a couple of years, I believe. Jeremy Bullrush Jr., I think, is a Bears fan. No, he's a Lions fan. He just likes trolling. He was drafted in 2018, pick 159 to the Indianapolis Colts. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs in 21 and 22, and he played for the Bears last year for Darius Fontaine. But he's a UDFA that was bouncing off a practice squad. His career statistics is 2 catches for 23 yards. He's 6'1.5". So he's not a big bodied receiver, but he's playing like one. So, but prior to the signing, we had $34.5 million for cap space. Until that gets done, we don't know. Let's see if they adjust it. No, it's down to 33.8, so it went up by 700,000. The dead cap that we have is 29 million. He's a smart aleck. Yes, he is. I think he's the one that comes in and does all the different player comments to like Jack Campbell and David Montgomery, Brad Holmes type of stuff. Every now and then he comes in as Ryan Poles and talks how they're going to take the North and never give it back. I don't see it happening anytime. See, he plays both positions. Is undone. He plays defensive end and Sam linebacker. He's used at both positions because they play a 3-4 defense. And your smaller DNs usually play outside linebacker. Usually it's almost 3 defensive tackles across the front in a 3-4. So you have to base it off of the top 51 because that's what cap space is based off of. It's not based off of the entire roster. That is the difference. Yes, Joseph is real good. He wants a bag, though. That's the only reason why I don't think it happens. I think because he wants to make 25 to 32 million is what he wants to make a year. And I don't think the Lions are ready to put that kind of money into a guy yet. Not when they're already talking about extending a lien. The next one after that, from what I'm hearing, is iffy. All three, I mean, both those guys are deserving of an extension. I think it is too rich for our blood right now. But I want to explain what Sport Track is talking about. Total cap room for all allocations. That means if you add in the other 39 players after the top 51, the Lions would have $2.2 million. But because cap space is based off of the top 51 contracts on your roster, you get 2 free spots of guys that don't fit in there. Their cap space is 33.8 million. Now next season is the one that I'm worried about. And I'm going to go to that right now. Because every time we sign somebody, that cap number changes. See, that's not right. Let me go to another site that does it a little better. Now in 2025, it says here that we're going to have 44.5. That's before Decker's contract is added in. In 2026, we'll have 68.123. But if I remember right, in that year, we have hardly anybody on the roster with quite a few void years in there. And in 2027, it gets got off. Boy, I love talking some football, though. I'm glad football's back. I'm going to go see if there's any latest updates from either Risden or Jeremy Reisman. Right now, they're saying the defense gets on point. Aiden Hutchison, blah, 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 blah. Almost. They haven't updated it. Nice. They are focusing more on fundamentals. Towards the end of yesterday, they did a bunch of special teams work, and the fans were. Looks like Davenport performed really well yesterday. But Jalen Calhoun and Zonovan Knight did not play at all. Yes, 2027 is when all of the 2023 rookie contracts expire. 2022 is 2026. 2021 is 2025. That's why they're getting Amon Ra and guys that come up next year as off the roster done. Good afternoon, Pat Rothwell and Brent. Yep, he did a great job yesterday with the 2s and 3s. That is what I heard about Wingo. I looked at it. I also just looked. Davenport took most of the first team snaps in the team play yesterday for the first time and looked great, both against the pass and the run, as he was doing good pass rushing and against the run. Betts was with the second team at defensive end. Wingo was at defensive tackle with Broderick Martin next to him. Broderick Martin was subbing in for Aleem McNeil, and Wingo was the DT2. Chris Smith, the UDFA we got in 2023 out of Notre Dame, he's done absolutely nothing. I believe he goes back to the practice squad or just gets left off the roster. I don't know if that guy makes it. I was hoping he'd be good, and he's not. He looks like nothing like what he did at Notre Dame. Someone that was at camp. Yep. Cominsky Muti hurts our depth. He was our best looking guard this camp. Awesome. Let's get some money from under the Davenport seats. Oh, you're showing your age there, Brent. Nobody calls a sofa Davenports anymore. Oh, Betts is looking good, but it's with the second and third team. Any good news at all today about Hooker? Yes, he connected with Dries Fontaine on an 80-yard touchdown. This is his first off season. He's going to have up and down days. Essentially, this is like his rookie year. Last year was a wash. But it's looking like the defense is playing really well right now. And that's good because normally we're hearing about the offense just tearing them a new butthole. I'm tired of hearing that every year. The defense is ahead of schedule. Looks like the NFL would like to get rid of the 70-year-old men running the chain gang with tech. No more half-hour delays carted off the injured. I love that idea, Joseph Austin. Yoli Cruz. How you doing, young lady? You enjoying your summer? She's a teacher. She may be a Packers fan, but she's a great one. She doesn't really talk crap. I think Suckfeld makes the 54, the extra QB that gets to hold the surface at the perfect angle so Jared Goff doesn't get a glare in his eye and get blinded. Good. Glad you're having that great offseason. Yes, we have a 26-year-old rookie QB, and I am happy we have him. You know, say what you want, but almost every deep pass you've seen the clips of, other than if it's JMO or St. Brown, and occasionally Dries Fontaine has been taking the first team snaps at the slot a little bit, along with Antoine Green. I'm hearing less about DPJ being there. I've heard Raymond being there, but I think they're doing more of the younger guys to have a shot to earn a spot. And I that's actually smart. Buy extra insurance on Goff to keep him safe. We may have to bring in another guard more than a defensive end. If we keep having people get hurt and sick and missing time on that offensive line, we've got actually a lot of depth there. You got Davenport, Amuzariki, Pascal, Betts, not even including Hutchinson yet. Then there's Houston at 6. And yes, he's playing like the 6th best defensive end right now. And I warned everybody it could happen. That ankle injury is way worse than people think. When you break your ankle, the bones flay out and they got to be pinned together. It takes time. And mentally, sometimes you never recover and get back to the full strength in that leg, which is why he's had 100%, Brent. We already know what we have in Khalif, so he's been taking like the one spot with the twos, is what I'm hearing. So they've been doing more of everybody else at the threes, but I've heard nothing of DPJ except an occasional great run block or a catch over the middle for a first down on third down. So until I hear more from him, it's looking like Green and Fontaine may jump him on this roster, which really doesn't matter. We gave him a 1 year prove it deal anyway. Uh, I think DPJ could have caught one of those Reynolds drops. The bad part is Jamo was wide open behind him a little further down the field, and it probably would have been a touchdown sooner. But the first one, he threw into double coverage with a guy on his back and a guy in front of him, and it still hit Reynolds in the hands. And no, it wasn't that great. He had to dive for it. I get it. But if you get your hands on the ball, you got to catch it. The second one, there's no excuses for Reynolds. There wasn't a single person around him. He was turned around and facing off. It was at the numbers and hit his hands. Brent, you're saying gospel here. Brad Holmes has stacked us up with great talent and depth. It's crazy because just 3 years ago we had almost no talent. Kudos to Brad, big time, 100%. Brad and his scouting staff and assistant general manager John Dorsey has done a great job building this roster. You know, everybody asks me how do I know who we're drafting because I don't say where, I don't say when, I just know we're drafting them. And I've said this about certain players all the time. And it's because you look at the pro days where John Dorsey goes. It's less about where Brad and Dan go together. But if Brad and Dan and John is there, there's somebody there we want. All three went to Alabama. All three went to Missouri, and everybody thought it was Darius Roberts. I did too. I'm not going to lie. In the NFL, if the ball touches your hands, you catch it. That is their number one job. Take everything else out, the route running, the run blocking. We went to John Dorsey was at LSU. John Dorsey was at Utah's pro day. The I don't know if he went to British Columbia, but I heard Hank Fraley and Dan did. So I think Giovanni Manu was a Hank Fraley pick. And Terrell Williams coached Wingo down there at the Senior Bowl. So I think he had something to say about it too. The Christian Mahogany one was like, wow, he's still here? When we picked him, I didn't even realize he was on the board. That's the crazy thing. And getting Mahogany, it's the steal of the draft. Everybody can say it's Wingo. Everybody can say it's Baki. They can say it's Manu. They can say it's Rakestraw. Oh, Dorsey did go to British Columbia? Lion Scouting Secret Sauce is the best. It's John Dorsey. John Dorsey is at 90% of every pick we have on this roster's pro day. You can go look it up and track it. If John Dorsey's there, it's almost a lock we're picking somebody from that team. Brad Holmes and company leave no stone unturned. 100%. I'm more impressed with our front office than anything. If you look at where we had to decimate this roster, take on so much dead cap 3 years ago to get where we are now after last season. Oh, he was the one that found him, was John Dorsey? That's amazing. I just didn't know if he was because I didn't see it. And yet, it still could be a 5-year turnaround. I don't wanna put the cart before the horse. Do we have a Super Bowl built roster? It looks like it. Is it? I don't know. As far as the teams in our division, up until the the death of Kyrie Jackson and the injury to Mekhi Blackman, I'd have said we might have 4 teams with 10 wins or better in this division this year. But after those injuries to the secondary and they signed a practice squad player off of another roster that was lingering in free agency instead of actually spending some money, I don't know what Minnesota's doing in the secondary. And they don't have a valid CB2, so basically they can only cover half a field. I I'm seeing them as a 5 to 7 win team now. Oh, Joseph Austin, you have a great day, sir. Enjoy being out there at the lake. I know I would. It's hotter than Toby's you know what out there. But here we are, the last day in July, 7 months into the season, or into this year. And we're talking football and having fun. We're what? Tomorrow is the first game, the Hall of Fame game of the preseason? Come on, we got football, people. When I started my business, they said if you don't make it in 5 years, you should hang it up. Brad Holmes has done it in 4. I get it. And if your sushi's burning, you're making it wrong, oh Joseph. Jeremy, what have you heard about the new turf at Ford Field? I like the name of that turf. Any feedback from players? I haven't heard anything about it, but I will look it up for you, Moonscar Blade. Maybe we'll bring it up tomorrow. I want to talk about that type of stuff because anytime there's a change, it can be good or bad. We haven't had a lot of injuries on home turf, really. If you look, most of our injuries come on the road, and that kind of bothers me. Damn. So, Moonscar, how's your day going? Have you heard anything from anybody else? Because I've been live for the last 45 minutes. I haven't been able to hear anything else. But Derice Fontaine getting that 80-yard touchdown pass from Hooker was pretty nice. Oh, has anyone heard about Houston? He's there playing and playing poorly. That's what I've heard, Brent. He's looked like absolute dog crap. He's now with the third team roster and backs up bets with the second team roster. He can't beat Dan Skipper in one-on-one. He tried to bull rush him. That's not his game. Elite bend and elite and great get up. Yes, FTP every day. Thanks, Brent. Have a good day at work. Sounds good. I'll do some research. I was on the old turf when we beat the Cardinals during the 3-13-1 season, and the kids get to run on it. It was like a thick woven carpet. Oh, that's nice. But I have some news out of Rams. Jonah Jackson carted off the field, hurt in the offseason. Imagine that, hurt before he ever gets a regular game. Oh, so glad we didn't spend that 19 million a year. Yes, yes, please share, share with the other Lions fans on other Lions pages where I don't see them. Yeah, I follow quite a few podcasters, but there's some I'm about to just not. LOL, Jackson is always hurt. Jonah Jackson, money well spent. Yes, elsewhere. Jonah, ouch. Orlando. Yes, I appreciate it all. I appreciate your comments. And we will be live tonight with the latest NFL news, which basically I'm going to touch on some of the injuries that's happened this offseason already. I'm going to touch on the DJ Moore and Taylor Decker contract. I'm also going to look up some trivia for tonight. Why? Because I can. I'm thinking about finding something that's more multiple guests than just give me answers. So that way it makes it a little easier on everybody. Yeah, I've not heard much in chats either, other than I just heard about the Jonah Jackson injury for the Rams. Prior to last season, Jonah Jackson wasn't injury prone. I twerk to that song, especially when Von Doom's titties are around. Jonah got a boo boo, yes. They don't know what it is either. Sean McVay said in the presser right after. I'm so looking forward to next week. We got the Giants coming in for joint practices. I think that actually means more than the game because that's when the starters face each other. That's when the shit talking happens. That's when all the good stuff happens. Oh, what a great day to be a football fan in general, but especially a Lions fan because we get to say this. FTP, FDB, FSKOL. Why not? Fornicate them all for the pride. I am happy to have been doing this. Going to be a hot one at the tire shop because it's hot in my shop. Oh, yes, it is. It's going to be a hot one. Like 7 inches from the midday, son. Oh, damn. You got me going into a song. How we doing on kickoffs? I haven't even heard much. You tell them to call the Lions training staff. They can probably point the Rams in the right direction to figure out his injury. I think his mangina's swollen. Who are the top CBs for the Giants? It's Deontay Banks, and I don't know who the other one is. We'll have to have Von Doom here for that talk. Because I don't follow Giants that much, but Deontay Banks had a good year last year, and he actually overtook Adoree Jackson because Adoree Jackson got his walking papers because he kind of fell off. But he had 3 years where he was a top 10 corner, and I don't understand why nobody's picked him up. I don't know if he's got some sort of legal issues going on in the background that's not came out, and it makes me wonder because we all know that Xavier Howard is a POS. What he did, it's unforgivable. Roman Wilson scare, only an ankle. An ankle is bad enough. Is it a sprain or is it broken? Because that'll tell you everything. When do we scrimmage the Giants next week? Oh, let me see. I'll look it up. Come on. My phone is asinine right now. Let me see what this picture says because I'm looking at the Giants one. It's looking like we play them on the joint practices are the 5th and 6th. So his mangina was swollen again after all those massages. What a waste of time. It's August 5th and 6th, and they start at 10 a.m., guys. Because 8 a.m. is always the 8 a.m. is always the presser for the coaches. Then they do a little bit of the player stuff, and then they go back to the locker room and get prepared. Then they come out at 10 a.m. Yes, Jonah Jackson, mangina swollen and carted off the field. Poor guy. And of course, I got to talk about the sponsor that does pay me. Brandon's Tires, right at the corner of South Grand Traverse and West Atherton Road, right here in sunny Flint, Michigan, 602 West Atherton Road. Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Used tires starting at $40, and new tires. Call to get your quote. 810-233-8230. Talk to George Red or myself, and we will get you a good quote. Mention this ad if you're buying a set, and we will take $10 off. Kelly Stafford probably put it on him. Now look what happened. Oh, what I thought was funnier is Stetson Bennett showed up ripped and healthier and throwing the ball and said, somebody get Kelly out of the practice field. I thought that was hilarious. Hide him before Kelly sees him. Poor Matt can't keep an eye on her long enough to get some reps in. Amen. It's getting to that time where we're almost done with the show. I want to thank each and one of you for coming in, making my day fun. I'm probably going to lose more people because I'm getting tired of the negative stuff. That's just me. I'm getting tired of negative Nancy's. Wow. I thought we'd be losing subscribers. Guess what? We gained 3, boys, during this show. Currently at 484 subscribers. That's huge. What a jump. I haven't had a 3-person jump during a live in a while. You know, I don't have thousands of followers. And the reason why is a lot of people don't know me yet. I mean, they know of me, but they don't know me. They haven't watched my content. I'm just not a clickbait sports guy. I'll debunk it before I give it credence. Until I hear in Allen Park that we're making a trade, we're not going to. Until I hear the words come out of Brad Holmes' mouth, or I see that it's reported by Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. Because you notice, we kind of didn't hear that Matt wanted out during the whole hiring process. But as soon as the hiring process was done, he was gone. That's when you started hearing everything. They waited. They wanted to see the guys who they were getting, whether or not they wanted to be with Stafford or whether they were accepting or whether they wanted to be with the Lions. Because that's 2 different attitudes. Dan Campbell was excited to come back and lead this team to victory. He even told us right off the rip, we're going to have some bumps and bruises. It's going to be a rough start, but we will get there. I promise you. That was one of the last statements he made in his opening presser. And it was the one that hit home more than me, but the kneecap biting thing is catchy. That's why it makes a great title for a channel. But remember, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day, everybody.
Here locally in the community, make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy.